Hello, Sukhmeet. A very warm welcome to you on this special edition of Spotlight during the Global Entrepreneurship Week.
Yeah, thank you, Dilprita, for having me here.
It's our pleasure, Sukhmeet, and we are going to dive right into the first question we have for you, which is about your journey with A2P. We'd love to know how it all began and what's been your experience so far.
Okay. Yeah, I basically am an engineer and then did my MBA from ISB Hyderabad. But most of my working experience uh, during my MBA days, both prior to and post MBA, was in technology. So it was hardcore technology. I worked in TCS, Mahindra Satyam, and I was in US at that point of time. I started thinking that rather than being there, I should come back and see what can be done in the entrepreneurship space. At that point of time in 2011, I came back and joined ISP in the entrepreneurship cell in Hyderabad. And when the new campus in Mohali was set up in 2011-12, so I moved here. During my course of work here, I was associate director in the manufacturing and the public policy institute. My work here, because we were based in Punjab, worked very closely with the government of Punjab on policy, and the manufacturing was the research center where I was working in. So, supply chain and manufacturing were two key focus areas where we started to do some research to action projects, both with the government and private organizations. Two key projects which I led was related to using technology to solve supply chain issues in agriculture, and second was around agriculture diversification. So during my course of work here, I realized that one of the biggest problem currently India and specifically North India faces is stubble burning every year. Yeah, around 35 million tons of straw is generated. Most of it gets burned on the field. So it not only causes air pollution, but also waste of a commodity which can be used in multiple ways. So during my course of work here, I started working with European Bioenergy Research Institute in UK and specifically with Dr. Robert Perry. So the idea was to see if there's any technologies which can be scaled up from lab to actual enterprise level. Uh, and so the idea was at that point of time also to promote entrepreneurship and have the technology scaled up. But I realized that rather than giving it to somebody else as an idea, why not try and do it ourselves? So in 2018, I left my job and started this A2P Energy, stands for Agri to Power. We also run a not-for-profit called Energy Harvest Charitable Trust. So in the trust, we work with some of the corporates through the CSR projects to do outreach activities with farmers on biomass management, on stubble management. And in the company, we basically then convert the agriculture waste collected into biofuels.
Very interesting. But you had to take that call of switching from a job to becoming an entrepreneur and actually pushing your idea through. Did you get any anxiety pangs or get anxious? What kind of got you comfortable in that journey and really take that leap? How did you make that transition?
I think, yeah, rather than me, it was my family who was more. It's because I was staying in Chandigarh and there are limited opportunities for job, and I worked a couple of years in US, few years in Dubai, so all in very good positions. Uh, and here my family was, first you left the corporate world, joined the academia, and now just leaving the job and starting. And most of my family is all professionals. Nobody is into business, so they were like all worried. But yeah, from my perspective, also, I think there are challenges which I had realized, and but there are opportunities, correct? So the idea to solve a real world problem, gives you or gave at least me a high rather than yeah, you miss that monthly end of the month salary credit messages. So, but yeah, there are I guess ups and downs in the entrepreneurship world. But I don't repent taking that decision. And if I given an opportunity, I would again still choose to start a business rather than continue being in the job.
That's wonderful, because a lot of people have ideas, but they keep struggling and working through the pros and cons or thinking about the opportunity cost of doing it, right? So, what
Yeah.
were the parameters that you weighed before you said that, I have to kind of invest myself completely into this?
I think there are multiple parameters you have to take in consideration. Finances is obviously one key of the parameters. Fortunately, my parents had built a house for us, so I didn't have to pay rent and EMIs on that. But yeah, I think financial cash flow is certainly one of the key things, and leaving a good job at a certain level of experience. It is not so doing this at a fresh college level where you have less responsibilities and commitments is a different thing rather than doing it at a later stage in the life where you do have commitments. So that was, I think, one of the key things to take care of. Other things are that in terms of the product being successful or the revenues keep on coming, profitability, and traction from your enterprise. All these are very key parameters. Seeing growth early in the launch of the company, uh, getting more traction, getting the first paid customers. So all are very key milestones, I would say. And fortunately, we did achieve those milestones fairly quickly. But having said that, yeah, it's definitely it's a risky affair.
And was there a state of readiness that you had worked on prior to jumping in full time? Like, so did you work in parallel on your idea and build an MVP, or did you start work post quitting job?
No, so a lot of people advise that have a parallel stream of work or your business idea to mature, and then uh,
Hmm.
think of leaving the job. I guess there are pros and cons on both the sides. So if you are in a job, majority of the time the MVP will never see the light of the day because there is no push to make it successful, correct? So you don't have to worry about finances because there's a pay to it. So that commitment level would always be missing. I did not had started this in parallel, but I had some clues in terms of because we set up a manufacturing unit, where the money will come from. Obviously, there were certain, I would say, possibilities which I was exploring, and without getting completely getting into that, I could have never arranged that funding or the grants which I was
Hmm.
hoping to get that. So that jump, that leap of the faith was definitely risky, but obviously there was some amount of calculation in terms of being successful or not. I had done.
Hmm. And so, is there some way you prepare for failures? Is there some at some points when through your journey have you faced challenges where you said, "Ye kya kar liya?"
So yeah, there are days. If I say there are not days like that, I would be lying. It's not all a rosy picture there where everything works like a clockwork. Sometimes you wear different. I would say in Punjab different turbans. So be it on being your own secretary or being your own technical person to a sales guy. There are definitely challenges which we generally see that rather than as a failure being a learning opportunity,
Hmm.
learn from others failures, learn of what other people are doing. So keeping it up in terms of uh, your experience, and rather than also learning from others experience, your it could be your competitors or it could be other startups. So I guess there is no stoppage in terms of learning. Every day you have to be learning in your field, going more deeper into that. So that is I would say, a lifelong journey. And being an entrepreneur, you have to take risk, and risk comes with a clause of definitely, I would say, failures or learning opportunities. So you have to just live with those and would say anticipate those. So it should not come as a surprise element to you. I thought about it and it should have worked. Uh, there are things where you have planned a lot, and you hope and you've calculated that it should work, and sometimes the market factors are so that it doesn't work. And on the other hand, some of the risky decisions we have taken, so it has worked. So I guess there are ways to look at it, but you can't avoid failure in the entrepreneurship journey. You can only be prepared for those.
And so, do you select some incident where you had to pivot and make that failure an opportunity?
Pivot, yes. We work on biofuels. Specifically, we were targeting small scale boilers where we could replace wood and coal. Then there came an opportunity to start working with thermal power plants. We've never thought about that market. So that was one, I would say, a pivot, but not changing completely the direction of the business. So it was a change in the process in terms of how we make the end product, what kind of end product we are making. So the thermal power plants had a specific requirements. So moving, I would say that to from the industrial scale boilers to thermal power plants, that is definitely a step up and I would say a slight pivot for us. Another thing which we started working, being from a technology point of view, was how we can use more technology to enable our business, reduce costs. As I said, my background was hardcore technology, so I could think in those terms. So we started utilizing technology even for our waste collection, biomass collection. So we started working with on the satellite images to identify where the biomass is burning, where we can go and collect. And in fact, yeah, a few months back, we have launched this initiative as a standalone initiative. It's called Carbon to Climate, and we've got support from very good companies, very good brand names who are not-for-profit activities, and also through A2P Energy, with the likes of French multinational has partnered with us on that. Google through their AI for Social project, we got selected under that to identify biomass from satellite images, and also we've got a very good response to our technology pivot and the line of business. So yeah, it's sometimes the pivots don't work, but most of the time, yeah, it has worked.
On that note, Sukhmeet, thank you so much sharing your journey and sharing your pearls of wisdom. So I'm hoping people feel inspired and may reach out to you as well to seek advice in the area. So thank you for joining us and look forward to interacting with you on other occasions as well.
Yeah, thank you, Dilprita, for the opportunity.
Thank you.